Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Wednesday, February 22nd. We have all you need to know about the university's interest in renovating Beaver Stadium, as well as details on proposed Board of Trustees legislation.
We also have more on gun laws around the nation, along with your weather, sports, and entertainment updates. Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Malia Brown.
And I'm Cameron Lobley.
A Coca-Cola branded semi-trailer truck has reportedly been seen unloading products to be rolled inside Beaver Stadium. Speculation has now come to light if Penn State will be searching in Pepsi for a new vendor. Pepsi became the only supplier of soft drinks and on-campus outlets when Penn State in the beverage business signed a 10-year agreement in 1992. Although the university decided to extend its contract with Pepsi, this decision granted Penn State time to shop around for a better offer and possibly even sign with a different vendor. This decision has the potential to serve as one of the most publicly known decisions to date, with comparable deals in the Big Ten reportedly paying out more than $80 million. Penn State has not agreed to any contract yet, and there is no public timetable of when a decision will be made.
Well, Beaver Stadium is now one step closer to receiving some brand new upgrades and updates. Penn State President Neely Bendapudi announced at a recent Board of Trustees meeting that the university is officially considering a multi-phase renovation project for the football stadium. Now, this isn't the first time university officials have showed interest in a project like this, but it is the first time a university president officially has. The plans for the project include upgraded amenities and improved circulation around the stadium, but exact details are being withheld until further funding and approval are finalized. The plans still need to be presented to the full Board of Trustees for approval. The date for that meeting has yet to be announced.
Pennsylvania State Representative Ryan Warner is aiming to pass legislation that will alter the composition of the Board of Trustees at Penn State. Warner said Penn State is the only institution without representation from the House or the Senate on the board. This is inconsistent with the membership of other state-related universities. Warner's measure would guarantee that every state-related university's Board of Trustees would have 34 voting members. In addition, Warner said that the governor, Secretary of Education, and Secretary of Agriculture will serve as ex officio non-voting members on the board.
Center County residents recently got the chance to learn more about plans for tackling last month's oil spill in Ferguson Township. Officials held a public forum last Thursday at Baileyville Community Hall where they addressed concerns and learned about the experiences of those affected by the January 14th spill. At the meeting, State College Water Authority Executive Director Brian Heiser announced that they'll be testing the water in the area for 4 quarters. He also noted that the first round of testing did not detect oil in the groundwater. That spill occurred after a leak reportedly made its way into a sump pump, which led to a local tributary. Well, with snowfall this morning and temperatures reaching the 60s tomorrow, State College weather has certainly been unpredictable. Dana Osgood with the Campus Weather Service will give us more details on what conditions we can expect this weekend in tonight's weather report. Take a look.
From the students of Penn State Meteorology, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Good evening, I'm student meteorologist Dana Osgood. We had a mixed bag in terms of precipitation moving through the state today. We started off with a beautiful sunrise over Beaver Stadium, but the weather just went downhill from there. Depending on what time of day you were outside, you either saw snow, sleet, or rain showers all moved through central PA here today. We even got a little bit of that picked up on our Beaver Stadium camera with a little water droplet down in the corner. Currently, it is 36 degrees with a visibility of 8 miles, but at least it's not windy. The temperatures are around average for this time of year, but it feels a lot colder than what we're used to, considering the temperatures for this month have been much above average, so currently only in the middle 30s. And it feels a lot cooler, especially for eastern PA. The temperature is about 15 degrees lower today than what we were seeing at this time yesterday. However, temperatures are going to rise as we enter the warm sector of this storm system. Temperatures are going to feel a lot more like spring than the middle of February. Now, the radar shows that at this hour, most of the precip is north of I-80. Got some bands of snow and mixed precip currently moving through New York. However, we're not done with the precipitation quite yet. There's another band of rain that's going to move through in the overnight hours of tonight, hitting us here in central PA right around midnight. Could have some heavier bands in western PA, but the mountains will break up some of that for central and eastern PA. Then behind this system, we're going to see some high pressure settle in, which is going to get our skies mostly clear, but we could have some clouds hanging tough, especially across the northern and western portions of the state. But southeast PA is going to be seeing plenty of sunshine for Thursday and Friday. Now, we've been in a rather active weather pattern over the past couple of weeks, and this week is no different. On Saturday, we have a system that could give some snow showers to the northern tier, while some rain showers associated with a different system skirt just to our south. Then high pressure settles in behind it. We have some varying cloud cover throughout the weekend before a rather robust system moves in for Monday. As of right now, that looks to be mostly rain for us here in central PA, but this system is a little bit farther out, so be sure to check in over the next couple of days for an update on precipitation type. And then behind that, high pressure settles in again, but it remains a little bit cloudy. Now, before we can get to all of that excitement for tonight, a low of 36 degrees, cloudy, and that chance of showers moving through around midnight, and temperatures are going to be rising throughout the overnight hours until we get to May, but it's still February. The high temperature of 67 degrees, couple of showers possible in the early morning hours, otherwise a mix of sun and clouds. And the 7-day forecast shows our trend for the next couple of days. What goes up must come down as the temperatures crash behind that front as we go into Friday, back down into the 30s. Could see a couple of flurries in the northern tier on Saturday. Otherwise, sunshine returns for Sunday before another system moves in for the beginning of next week. From the Penn State Campus Weather Service, I'm Dana Osgood. Have a great day.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Ashley Mascaro with your sports update. The undefeated Penn State women's lacrosse team hosted the winless Duquesne Dukes yesterday afternoon at Panzer Stadium. Junior midfielder Elena Hamoud opened the scoring for the Nittany Lions before the Dukes tallied their first point with 9 minutes left in the first quarter. Penn State led 9-2 by the end of the first half. Senior midfielder Megan Murray completed a hat trick towards the end of the third quarter before junior Kristen O'Neill made the Nittany Lions lead by 12. In the final 15 minutes, Penn State tallied 7 more points before Duquesne scored their last point of the game. Senior Kelsey Kimmel finished off the game with her first goal of the season, making the final score 19-5. The ladies take on Arizona State on home turf Friday at 3 p.m. Penn State women's basketball traveled west this past Sunday where they faced Illinois. The Fighting Illini scored the first 7 points of the game and did not trail in the first quarter. Freshman guard Shea Chesky hit 2 threes as they were down 27-9. Sophomore guard Leilani Kapanis tallied 9 for 12 points where the Nittany Lions in the second quarter, making 7 free throws. Senior guard McKenna Marisa made a 3-pointer on the first possession of the third quarter, making her the 10th best scorer in program history. Illinois went on to a 21-2 run to close out the game, making the final score 85-62. The ladies are playing the Boilermakers in Purdue tonight at Mackey Arena. The United States women's soccer team has been playing in the group stage of the 2023 She Believes Cup. Their first match was Thursday, where the ladies took on Canada and came out victorious with a final score of 2-0. Forward Mallory Swanson scored both goals for the U.S. in the 7th and 34th minutes. Goalkeeper Alyssa Nair blocked all 6 shots by the Canadian team. On Sunday, the U.S. defeated Japan with a final score of 1-0. Forward Mallory Swanson scored the only goal of the game in the 45th minute and was named player of the match. Compared to the U.S., Japan was not able to put away any of their 15 shots. The final match in the group stage for the ladies will be tonight at 7 p.m. where they take on Brazil. That's all for your sports update. After the break, Emma Goldkoff has the latest updates from the entertainment world. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Emma Goldkoff with your entertainment update. It's just about time for State Patty's Day. This student-run event will kick off on Saturday, February 25th, marking its 16th anniversary. St. Patty's Day started in spring of 2007 when St. Patrick's Day happened to coincide with spring break and students were away from Penn State. The celebration now takes place the weekend after Thon. This year, fraternities and sororities have been asked to limit their social events involving alcohol by police. There's expected to be increased law enforcement presence this year, so if you decide to glam out in green, be safe. The State Theater will be hosting a concert to benefit Ukraine on Saturday, February 25th, 1 year and 1 day since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Contemporary folk band Kurinya will be performing traditional Ukrainian songs in a style that everyone will be sure to enjoy. This event is co-sponsored by Penn State's Ukrainian Society, the Waskob Family Endowment in Ukrainian Studies, and the Department of Germanic Languages and Literatures. Tickets will be $5 for students, and they can be purchased at the box office or the State Theater's website. Donations can also be made during the event. Back on campus, this past weekend marked the 51st annual Thon, the 46-hour dance marathon to raise money for childhood cancer. Field reporter Mackenzie Bruns went out to the BJC this weekend to get the details. Take a look.
This weekend marks one of the most anticipated events here at Penn State, Thon Weekend. From Friday, February 17th to Sunday, February 19th, Penn State students will stand together for a 46-hour, no sitting, no sleeping, dance marathon to stand up to childhood cancer and for the 4 Diamond families here at the Bryce Jordan Center at Happy Valley.
While it looks like a quiet afternoon in Happy Valley, over 15,000 students are preparing to celebrate their year-long efforts in raising money for childhood cancer. Throughout the year, organizations create fun and unique ways to raise money for the 4 Diamond families.
Pie events, dunk tanks. We've had dogs over our house to pet and to play with. And then following that, we had like a dog fashion show.
Watching and supporting, and I've been raising money throughout the entire school year.
And it's all for moments like this. Thon hosted mainstream performers like artists Natasha Bedingfield and Weethan. Saturday night, the annual pep rally included dance performances from many athletic teams and an appearance from James Franklin himself. Thon 2023 Foster the Magic included a line dance that plays every hour and includes games and dance performances for the dancers. This year, students raised over $15 million, and it's all for the kids. Thanks for tuning in.
The $15 million raised for the kids broke the record for the highest amount raised in Thon history. In national news, one of YouTube's most famous vloggers and a new up-and-coming singer-songwriter hard-launched their relationship during a GQ interview this past week. Emma Chamberlain and Tucker Pillsbury, who goes by the stage name Role Model, finally made their relationship public after keeping it on the down low for the past 3 years. Emma supposedly made an appearance in Role Model's Never Let You Go music video last March, but neither will admit to it being true. The two met when Role Model DM'd Emma on Instagram to comment on her, quote, fire outfit. The lovebirds started out messaging for 2 months before meeting in person in March 2020, and the rest is history. The couple has decided to keep the relationship private and off social media as they both work towards bettering their careers. That's all for your entertainment update. After the break, interview anchor Emily Foley will be speaking with Maddie LaMonica, the primary Thon chair for Alpha Omicron Pi's Thon Committee and a dancer in Thon this past weekend. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back to PSN News. I'm Emily Foley. With me tonight is Maddie LaMonica, the primary Thon chair for Alpha Omicron Pi's Thon Committee and a dancer in Thon 2023. Maddie, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thanks so much for having me, Emily.
Yep. So as a primary chair of a sorority's Thon fundraising efforts, what are some of your responsibilities throughout the year?
Yeah, so as primary chair, it's kind of like a bit of an interesting position because I'm not really necessarily like planning like the fundraising that we do, but it's kind of like more of like a communication position. So like under me, there's 4 other Thon chairs and they all have like their individual responsibilities. So like my main job is making sure that like they, you know, don't have any questions and that like I kind of like understand what they're doing and keeping them like on track. And then on top of that, I'm also like the main kind of point of communication for like all of our like general members. So like I, you know, send out emails every week kind of detailing like what's going on. And I like, it's kind of my job to like keep them in the loop and like make sure I'm like making aware of all the opportunities that are like coming up that are like Thon related. And then additionally, I'm also like the main person that's in charge of communication between like our organization and then like internal Thon. So like, you know, like the Thon captains and like committee members and liaisons and stuff. And so a lot of like what organizations have to do is like keep those people updated, you know, like get certain things approved. Like there's a lot of like kind of behind the scenes, more like administration stuff that's like kind of not really seen when you're just looking at like maybe just donor drive or like alt funds and like fundraisers and stuff. So like my job is to like make sure that like all of that communication is also up to date and that we're kind of like adhering to all of like Thon's rules and regulations in terms of like fundraising.
Yeah, so a lot.
Yeah.
So on top of all those responsibilities, you also chose to dance this year.
I did, yeah.
What made you decide to dance?
I kind of felt like ever since I came to Penn State, like that was just something that I wanted to do. And it was more like I decided kind of like many years ago that I wanted to be primary chair just because I knew like that was the way that I was going to be able to give the most amount of my time and effort like into AOPI's Thon. And like if I didn't do that, you know, not that it would give me like the best shot at being chair, or being dancer, but you know that like if I had given all my effort through as primary chair, that like I, you know, most likely would be rewarded with a spot as a dancer when I was a senior as well. And so the past, I think 4 or 5 primary chairs like for AOPI have also been dancers. And so not to say that like if you were a primary chair and you didn't want to dance, you had to, but usually like our dancers are elected chairs, and it's kind of like a thank you for like their work and like what they do kind of behind the scenes for everyone else.
Yeah. So how was dancing? Was it everything you thought it was going to be, or were there parts that kind of like surprised you?
Yeah, so like I actually spent all of Thon last year like in the stands like the entire time. So like people will say like they do 46 in the stands. So like I did that, and I thought that like when you're on the floor dancing, in comparison to that, it would be like a walk in the park because you have like the added support of like your DRCMs, and you have like people coming to visit you, and you have just like a bunch of room to like move around and like just like all this other stuff, and like all of the food is 10 times better than like what they sell in the concourse, right? And so like I thought like compared to last year, it would be so easy, and I was like totally surprised that like I thought it was like 10 times harder, and I don't really know why. I think like a lot of it is probably like mental. So like when you're in the stands, you know, like if something goes wrong or if you're really not feeling well, you can go home.
Yeah.
But like when you're on the floor and you're like representing, you know, like 200 girls and they're like all watching you and hoping that you do great. Like if you are feeling just like a twinge of like anxiety, or you feel like something might be wrong or you're not feeling well, like all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I don't want to get sent home. You're like really focused on like making sure you feel good. So like I kind of think there was like a bit of like a pressure, but like obviously like in terms of like, was everything I thought of. It was like amazing, obviously. I thought it was going to be maybe like a little bit easier kind of like on my body and stuff like that than it turned out being, but like I wouldn't have changed anything about my experience. Like even like being down there, like I'd been on the floor before like for other like passes when I've like had other friends dance and stuff like that, and just being down there doing it yourself is just unlike anything. Like I said, I was in the stands the whole time last year, and it was still like a completely different experience. It was amazing.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Like it sounds so cool. But so after dancing for all 46 hours, working all year, what was your reaction when you saw them lift the signs and the total was over $15 million?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, I think probably part of this could be attributed to like the sleep deprivation. But like I started weeping, and I couldn't stop like pretty much for hours after, it felt like, because like even like I'm a senior, right? I don't know if I mentioned that. And so like even like my freshman year, my first year here, the total at Thon, like the big grand total was 11.6 million. So like just to see in like my 4 years here as a student for like the organization to grow from like what was already like a crazy amount, like when I was a freshman, to like then like in just 4 years we're raising like $4 or $5 million more. It just kind of felt like I just know so many people that like that aren't even in AOPI that like fundraise for their own orgs or like are captains, and like I just like it felt like such like a culminating moment for so many people, not just myself. And I just couldn't like, I mean, no matter what the number was, I would have probably had the same reaction. But like just to see like such a large jump from last year, especially just with like everything going on, you know, like since like COVID, like my sophomore year, Thon was virtual, and like seeing the way we've bounced back after that is just like, like really unbelievable. It's been awesome.
It was so crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole BJC just went like absolutely insane what happened.
I mean,
it was so nice.
That's like that's the reaction I was expecting, you know what I mean?
It was so good. So do you think you're going to take anything with you from your like Thon experience as a dancer, as a chair, like with you throughout the rest of your life?
Yeah, I definitely think just because like through Thon and like my 4 years, especially with AOPI, I've just gotten to know like our like Four Diamonds family so well, and like gain kind of like just a really different perspective on like how childhood cancer like really impacts like the whole family and like stuff like that. And so like while I've never had like thankfully any personal experiences with that, I feel like having that perspective like going on like through life, like I think it's always something I'm going to carry with me. And I think also like a lot of Penn State people that are involved with Thon will tell you that like it kind of does like instill like kind of like a sense of like wanting to give back.
Yeah.
And so like I know I was talking to you before we went on here about like I don't know what I'm going to do now because like I spent so much of my time like pouring my energy into like making sure we did the best that we could this year for Thon, and like not that like I can't go do that for any other cause, but like I still like have that kind of want to like give back, and like it's just such like a community-based thing that like I hope like in my adult life I'm able to find a similar outlet, whether it's like through like alumni Thon things or like a different cause or something like that.
Yeah, it's like now that it's over, it's like what are you supposed to do?
I know, seriously, I'm still grappling with the fact. I don't know what I'm gonna do. We'll see.
But do you have any advice for other students who want to dance sometime, like maybe next year in the future?
Yeah, like I would say like if you're in an org and you're like hoping to like get a dancer spot like for that org, like just like put yourself out there like as soon as you can. I know like for me, like in AOPI, like usually underclassmen can be Thon chairs as well. So like my sophomore year, I was like our alternative fundraising chair for AOPI. And so like that kind of like put my name out there when I was like just like I was younger. And so like that way when I was like running for primary, people had like seen, what I'd done before, whatever. And if like maybe like I know people might feel like they're like say a senior and they really want to dance and they don't know like exactly where to go, like how to go about it. Like I know like a lot of people kind of forget about independent dancer couples. That's a really great like opportunity. I know like they're starting to like more people are starting to do it again. But like if you're interested in dancing, like you and one other person could just try to do it on your own. And I know so many people who have done that, and it's so like especially gratifying to like know that like that was just you and one other person that kind of got your spot. Obviously I have like 200 girls that like help me fundraise, you know what I mean? And like if you are dancing, like my best advice is just to like I would say like live in the moment while you're doing it. Like even like it was only 3 days ago and I already like looked through my phone and I have like over 1,000 pictures, and I just wish I had like 1,000 or like 2,000 more because like I think again like the sleep deprivation, like I don't remember much, like I don't remember much of the details. So like I think like even if you're not dancing, like if you're gonna be there for a while, I mean especially like this is my last Thon as a student, so like just taking it all in and not like trying to think about like this small things like how your feet hurt or like anything like that. So
no, that's amazing. Well, congratulations on
Thank
a
you
job
so
well done
much.
this weekend and everything. But that's all the time we have today.
Okay, yeah, of course. Thank you.
Up next, Malia and Cameron will bring the latest news from across the nation. Stay tuned.
Gunfire broke out along the route of a renowned New Orleans Mardi Gras parade, leaving a teenager dead and a 4-year-old girl among the injured. 2 firearms were discovered at the location where police were already present in force. A 20-year-old man was promptly taken into custody. Police announced late Monday that the man was now facing a charge of second-degree murder after first being jailed on a charge of illegally carrying a weapon. The teenager, who was dead between the ages of 15 and 18 and was not immediately identified. Along with the 4-year-old girl, 3 young adults were among the other wounded. They received medical care and were released from the hospital.
This week, TSA officials announced a record number of guns were seized in U.S. airports last year. Over 6,500 were found, with a majority found loaded. This number passes last year's record of interceptions by nearly 10%. The majority of confiscations were reportedly made in states with more gun-friendly laws, like Texas and Florida, although experts are saying that the rise in seizures is simply due to an increase in gun owners nationwide. TSA officials are asking anyone who plans on traveling with a firearm to review the proper baggage procedures. You can find those instructions at tsa.gov.
Democrats, the majority party of the Minnesota legislature, are supporting gun safety laws in the hopes they will be able to enact legislation that Republicans previously prevented. 2 main bills are currently being proposed. One would prevent temporary gun confiscation from people in crisis under red flag laws. The other would increase the number of background checks required for the sale and other transfers of firearms. As the national conversation about avoiding gun violence gets more polarized, Minnesota Democrats are moving ahead with making a difference. On party line votes, the House Judiciary Committee passed the legislation last Thursday. But time will tell if there will be enough support among the Senate Democrats, whose 1-seat majority remained unwavering throughout recent difficult votes on abortion and climate change.
Last month's election of Kevin McCarthy as House Speaker is sparking new discussion regarding cameras in the House of Representatives. Much of the conversation surrounds a confrontation between McCarthy and Florida Representative Mark Gates. It was largely missed by government cameras at the House floor, but caught in much greater detail by C-SPAN cameras. Now members from both sides of Congress and C-SPAN are asking for more independent coverage at the House floor. They're citing greater transparency among representatives and greater accessibility for the general public as the main reasons for the increased involvement. House Speaker McCarthy will ultimately have the final word to move forward on these requests. And that'll conclude our show tonight at PSN News.
Be sure to check out us on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.